Hello there, Chronicle of Tales here. I wanted to make a video about how I create melodies and how you can do that as well. And I actually already made a video about this. And in this video, there was a montage of me putting together my latest musical piece. But I thought about it and basically, this video would only be focusing on the results rather than the process, right? You would only see me add up the notes one after the other, but you wouldn't really get something out of it yourself, right? It's like seeing a firework, and that doesn't help you know how the technicians, how the workers put together everything on the ground, right? You will see a result, but you wouldn't see you wouldn't see much more than that really. And besides, it wouldn't be as beautiful as a firework, right? And so I thought about how how can I help people find notes in the way that I do. And so naturally I went back to inspiration, right? Because that's what it's about. You come up with melodies, and for me it happens quite naturally. It's something I do since I'm little, really. And I seem to hear that people can't do it at all. They can't make up something on the spot. And so it's hard for me to relate to other people who would want to learn how to make music, how to compose, but they don't have this ability. This ability, yes. And that's what you're trying to achieve, right? That's what you want to get to, because composing is essentially inventing something, making something new and interesting, even though maybe it might be like something you already heard, which is most often the case. And that's right, inspiration. So how do you get this inspiration, right? How do you come up with melodies naturally? Well, there is some kind of little exercise I do since I am little, and I think anyone can do it. However, I'm not sure anyone can actually do it because it's kind of close to inventing a melody, I suppose. But I think it's a bit simpler. It can be easier, and there's also a several steps process involved. And so I think some people might be able to do it. The problem is I don't know anyone who tried it yet because I actually just invented it. I think maybe someone else thought about it beforehand. I just don't know. And I'm going to explain it to you using Reaper. But first, I want you to know that you don't need Reaper to do it. I only use Reaper to show you and to explain to you how this exercise works. Simple as that. Okay. So here I have created a little rendition of The Brink of Time from the Chrono Trigger soundtrack. Let's have a listen to it. Okay, this is just a simple little passage, little moment of the song, and I definitely did not compose it. It was one of the, I think there are three composers who made this soundtrack for Chrono Trigger. And so you have this melody, right? But it doesn't have to be this one. This is just an example. And it's a melody that you are I think it's better if you are familiar with it. And what you are going to do is sing along to it, essentially. And you do it in your head, as if you are remembering simply the piece of music you are familiar with. So in this case, I would just sing in my head these notes. It's hard to make an example of this, right? Because when you sing in your head, it doesn't really make a sound at all. But what you can do as well is sing out loud, if you can do it. A lot of people can't really sing out loud. Uh, Maybe you're afraid it might sound bad, but you if it does, it's not a problem. Just do it for yourself, right? It's just to help you, like a vocal exercise, but it's not really meant to train your voice, right? But you don't need to use your voice. You can do it in your head. And really, it's just remembering this music. So you can do it with something you know. It doesn't have to be from the Chrono Trigger OST. It doesn't have to be this particular piece. It can be anything really. It can be something from any genre. It can be jazz. It can be drum and bass. It can be, I mean, even ambient maybe, if you kind of remember how a particular ambient track is played, I suppose. Uh, Classical music. Just remember a piece you are really passionate about. You you articulate it in your head. You remember it. That's the first step, I think. The first step. The second step is to remember the piece of music, uh, but modify it slightly. So in this case, with the brink of time here, you could try to sing it in your head, but lower, for example, like this. And you can do it like I'm doing in Reaper, but what I want you to do is do it in your head. So, for example, I think the easiest way to do it is to have a headset, right? Or you are listening just to, for example, The Brink of Time, you listen to it, and at the same time, in your head, or if you want out loud, you sing this. You sing the same thing but lower, or you can do it higher maybe. This is gonna be too high, I think, though. Yeah, no, this is too, this is too high. But yeah, I think this is really the idea. You just sing the same thing, but a little differently. You keep the notes, but and that's really it. That's and then actually I'm going to show you a little example of this, and I'm going to sing out loud so you can maybe see what I mean better. That's it really. You can do it in your head. You can do it higher maybe, etc., etc. So then I guess I could call that the third step is then you try to modify notes. So in this case, if I have this part here, which is a little lower than the main one, I'm going to try to modify some of the notes just to illustrate my point. Yeah, so in this case, you are keeping the same melody, and you modify it. You modify some of the notes, and the idea is that you try to stay coherent and to accompany the main melody, which is this one. You try to complement. You try to make it so the part you are creating, because that's what it's about. You are creating something. The part you are creating fits well with the original part here. And this is called a counterpoint. A counterpoint is a melody which complements another one. And I guess you could also call it a harmony, but a counterpoint is the most specific term for it. And you can also modify the rhythm, but it's going to be a little difficult. So yeah, first step, just sing along the same thing. Then second step, go lower into the scale of notes and just sing the same notes but lower or higher if you want. And then third step, you modify some of the notes slightly and you try to stay coherent with the rest. You try to accompany the main melody, and this is called a counterpoint. So you try to do a counterpoint and you try to sing it in your head again, because you don't need to be able to sing. This is very important. Um, when I compose, and I think it's the case for most composers, you don't need to sing anything. It happens in your head. It's like thinking of what to say, right? And then progressively you stray farther and farther from the original musical piece. I'm just going to try to modify this a little more. And this is what you're aiming to achieve when you train yourself to, like, at first you just modify one note, maybe this one, then these ones too. You try to complement everything, and then you complexify your counterpoints every time. You train yourself. You try to get things a little further. Then you modify the rhythm, just like I did here. You try to you just go nuts. Really, I wrote this on my sheet. You go nuts. Basically, you invent whatever the hell you want, and you try to stay coherent still with the original. And the point I'm trying to make here also is the well, yeah, it is that when I mute this, which is the original melody of The Brink of Time, and I listen to what I just made, which is the counterpoint, just want to modify this one. But anyways, what I mean to say is this is original. You made this. This is new, right? Do you notice something here? This is what inspiration is about. Even actually even when you modify just one note of the main melody up and down or whatever, it's already new. You have already created something. Even though because you might say, yes, but I help myself with something that already exists, right? It's not really new. No, no, no. It is new. It is new. Maybe not as new as some other stuff, but it really is something that you created. This is creativity. This is what we are aiming to achieve here. And right, I hope you are seeing where I want to get here. This exercise is meant to train your inspiration, and in inspiration, I mean your instinct for creating melodies, basically. Um, the more you do this, I think, the more you're going to be able to naturally come up uh, with with motifs like this on your own. Eventually, the aim is that you are able to do this without a supporting melody already that you are listening to or remembering. Because another part of this exercise also is that you don't need to actually listen to anything when you do it. You can also just remember something, a piece of music you really like and you know it by heart. Just remember it, and when you remember it, you can try to create a counterpoint of it. You can create a melody that supports it. And you sing it in your head. Again, you don't need to be able to sing at all, like singing with your voice, I mean. You sing in your head. Okay. So I think that's really about it. That's right. So you might also wonder how long do you need to do this in order to see some results? Um, you don't need to. I mean, the best thing you could do is to make it a habit. Often, when you listen to music, just try to do it. Just try to follow what you're listening to and try to stray a little from it and to sing along in your head and just modify one note. Try to stay coherent to accompany the melody you are listening to, and yeah, you can do it everywhere. You can do it at home. You can do it on public transport. You can do it at work if you just remember a piece of music you already know and you love. And honestly, I don't really know any people who tried this other than me and maybe a friend of mine. So I don't really know how long it could take you if you were to see any results. Really, this is the tricky part. I fear this video is going to be a little like trying to roll your tongue into a tube and finding out you can't do it, or you can, and be like, okay, I can do it, great, just go for it. Or you can be like, oh well, I really can't. So it's like having an extra finger on your hand or not having it, or something like that. And honestly, I hope it's not the case. I hope most people can train themselves and really um, grow their inspiration like a muscle, almost, that you would train over and over until you can create more and more intricate things, more and more intricate melodies on the spot, and um, and then you can just go into Reaper and you have fun, right? You just have fun with it. So that's it, I guess. I hope this video has been helpful to some of you. Uh, Obviously, it's going to be a little less popular as the musical pieces I upload, because the target audience is going to be a lot smaller. I think less people are going to be interested in wanting to learn music, how to make it. But maybe I could add that you don't need a musical background to do this at all. It's really I already had this first tutorial to show you how to install everything, and then there is your brain, right, which makes up things, and that makes you create melodies for it. This is an important part of it, and I wanted to cover it in case it might interest someone. So yeah, this is Chronicle of Tales. See you in the next video, I suppose, or for when I release a new musical piece. Hopefully next week. I am not sure, but this might happen next week, I think. Okay, so see you around. So I almost forgot to give you a more concrete example of this exercise. I have here the original piece The Brink of Time from the Chrono Trigger OST. This is really the original one. And I'm going to be singing along to it. This is very much how the exercise is meant to be done. I'm going to try and show a few ways you can sing along. And so, yeah, I'm just going to remind you that you don't need to sing at all. You don't need to sing out loud. I mean, you don't need to be able to sing out loud at all. You can sing in your head, just like syncing up notes one after the other, right? And yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's give this a go then.